Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do the tattoo tag. Quick note, I'm only going to do my arms because there's a lot to cover and I don't want to have you sitting here for 2 hours, okay? So, my arms are pretty fairly covered up. Let's start with this one. So this one is based on Roman mythology, and these all stand for word. So it's Elpis Ultima Dea, which means, literally it means Elpis was the goddess of hope, so Elpis, the goddess of hope, is the last goddess. So realistically what that means is that hope dies last, and that hope is the last thing you should always hold on to, like when everything goes to shit. And if you didn't know, I'm a cynical person, so I need that note to remind me that, you know, it's not the end of the world. And I put wings because I always associate wings with goddesses. Above it, this one says hic et nunc, which is in Latin, and that's a saying that my aunt uses a lot, and it means here and now. And that's about self-doubt. I've had a lot of issues with self-doubt in the past, and I like having a reminder physically on me saying, like, think about here and now, don't worry about tomorrow, don't worry about yesterday, just do what you need to do right now, which I really need to remember that, trust. On the back here, it says in Italian, which is my first language, forza, and that literally means strength, but it also means when you say forza to someone, it means keep going. And I don't want to get too much into it, but I had a case of severe depression a couple of years back, so pretty obvious. Oh my god, I'm so bad at this. Then under here, I have a honeycomb thingy. I don't know what they're called in English, but whatever, you get the gist. And that's for my husband because we always say that he's a bear because he sleeps a lot and he really likes honey. Anyways, moving right on. So here I have a tattoo of a palm tree that looks like a stamp, and I actually recently got this one with my friend Leia. And I mean, I've always been obsessed with palm trees, and the stamp, it's more about what the stamp means than what's inside the stamp. That by that I mean that it's not about the palm tree, it's about having the stamp with her, where we've had a lot of similar things happen in our lives. So in a way it's like a stamp of sisterhood and of kind of an acknowledgement of like, hey, we've been through a lot of the same shit and we were there for each other. So does that make sense? I don't know, but if it doesn't, comment. This is a palm tree that I got when I first moved to California with my mom, and that's because I was the cliche girl when I was younger who wanted to move out to California and who wanted to live in a place that makes me feel like vacation, in a place that makes me feel like everything's okay. And I know that sounds really stupid, but it's like I've always associated palm trees and the sea with a sense of calmness, and being a person with anxiety and depression, I really needed that. And so that was kind of a symbol of like, hey, you're where you're supposed to be now, so things are cool. Here we have a date in Roman numerals, and this is the day I went on my first date with my husband. He has a matching one like on his chest here, and I mean, that's really pretty self-explanatory. Here I have a quote by the Beastie Boys, "Fight for your right to party." And that's kind of a message to myself because I've never really been the person who gives myself credit when I accomplish something. Like, for example, when I graduated from college a couple months early, I literally was just like, okay. Like a normal person would have been like, hey, this is sick, congrats to myself, pat on the back, whatever the fuck. And I was just like, nah. I literally did nothing. I didn't have a party. I barely talked about it to anyone. Like, I was just so meh. And the thing is, like, there's humility and then there's not giving yourself credit. And I really, really think people should celebrate small victories and big victories alike. And I feel like people most of the time just kind of start worrying about the next thing instead of enjoying the current thing, if that makes sense. Okay, this one says Cruisin for a Bruisin', and that one's not that deep, to be honest. It's just because, like, I had an obsession with Greece when I was a kid, and it was just like a really good time in my life that I like remembering, because My childhood was not a bad childhood by any means, but there were some hard times, and I have this very vivid memory in my head of watching Grease with my mom like every day for a couple of months, because I used to do that. I'd get obsessed and then watch the movie every day. And so I like looking back at that tattoo and say like remembering a very purely happy time with my mom. Here I have coordinates, and they're coordinates to a place in Italy where I've gone since my childhood. I've literally gone there every summer for 24 years now. So, like, I went there when I wasn't even 1 year old. And that place meant a lot to me because it was like a home, because I'll get to this in the 50 facts about me, but in my childhood, I moved around every 2 years and I ended up living in like 8 different countries. So having one stable place meant a lot to me. Here I have a tattoo that says LV in it, and it stands for Las Vegas because that's where my husband and I had our wedding. No, it was not a wedding in a Elvis drunk chapel thing. It was a proper wedding. But that is to commemorate that. Pretty straightforward. And here is a tattoo that I actually drew myself that says Buzzkill. And that one kind of relates to fight for your right to party, because I tend to buzzkill myself, like no lie. I'm a Scorpio, and I don't know if it's because of that, but my moods can swing pretty harshly, and when they do swing badly, I feel like I can really ruin myself and my day. Like, I can really ruin myself for that day. Like, I'll just be like, you're a piece of shit, like everything you're doing is not worth it. Like, I'll just talk down to myself in a horrible way, and I'm working on it, but that tattoo was kind of to remind myself, like, stop it. This one I also designed myself. It's supposed to be a wolf, and that's because I really like Hermann Hesse's Steppenwolf. There are a lot of messages in there that mean a lot to me. I originally wanted to get quotes, but there were just too many, so there's a lot of things in that book that focus on man and wolf and how everyone has this animalistic part inside of them, and I'm not going to go on for like 10 minutes about this, but there are a lot of messages in there that I relate to, so that. Now, for the shoulder ones, okay, so this one isn't super deep, but my favorite decade in terms of a lot of literature is the 1920s, and this ironically, in the 1920s, people wore jewelry like this on their shoulders that had like a chain across this and would rest on their shoulders. So I wanted to get something that represented an era that I really like in literature. And yes, I know horrible things happened in the 1920s and racism and all that stuff was also happening. I'm just talking about the literature, okay? That was pretty much all of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Depending on how long this was, I might make it in 2 parts because I don't want you guys to get bored. So yeah, thanks for watching, and please let me know what you want to see from me. Julia Smith in the comments mentioned a 50 facts about me, so if you guys want to see that, let me know. And then if there's anyone else you'd want me to comment on, also let me know. I've had a couple people say Joy Sparkle BS, so yeah, just let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.